My name is Sydney Valentine, and I'm a survivor. A revenant slaughtered everyone I love, including my daughter. They're evil spirits, back from the dead who wield machetes and tire irons, and a bullet to the head won't stop them. After one butchered his congregation, St. George claims God called him to hunt the revenants, and he's recruiting survivors to join him. Most won't make it out alive, but at least they're taking a stand. God has his book of life, and St. George has his kill journal.
Wow. I just watched it again for the first time in what feels like a couple of weeks now. Adam, so great to have you here. Thank you for coming on.
Of course. Are you kidding? I love this. I love this pack here. And Michael, it feels like it's been a few months since we first met on that stream a while back. I forget whose stream it was exactly, but I remember meeting you and being so impressed by the Lucent, because I felt like, I'm like, man, this is like a Daniel Warren Johnson dude. This is a guy who can write it and draw it, and like at both at excellent levels, that's really rare. And anyway, so it's good to be back.
I forget as well. Who was that? What was that show? It was the two of us and someone else. That's really bad that we both forget that, because yeah, it was a good show.
It totally was.
Oh well, it'll come to us eventually. Sorry, I muted you, Poland. I don't know if you muted yourself. Hold on, let me unmute him. Oh, it's not working. It says I can't unmute. Oh, okay, all right. He's muted himself. Blue, how you going?
I'm going well. How are you guys doing? You're very happy to be here. I don't need to ask. You're doing well.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Poland.
We're both doing well. Poland, how you going? Great to see you.
I think there was about to be some nasty feedback, so I preempted it.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Excellent. And we have a bunch of people here in the chat, so we should probably say hello to them as well. We have Rick Sailors here. How you going? Rick. He says, hey, he's saying hello to everyone. He said, if you sexy mother lovers haven't gotten your copy of the Lucent yet, the Lucent, well, today is the day. Every day is the day if you haven't gotten it yet. Skip Edwards says he's going to catch us on the replay. Excellent.
Hello, Skip.
Excellent.
Make today the day.
We have to say hello to each person. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I've ordered my copy of the Lucent.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
I ordered it months ago. I've been waiting for that.
Yeah, I'm working hard on making it the best thing it can possibly be, so don't you worry about that. Shane Burgess is here. He says, "Hail the wrenches." Yeah, we got a wrench party in here.
Wrench party.
We, if you hang around, you come back every day like these guys do, like Rick Sailor. Then
hello and goodbye, Red Valkyrie. We miss you.
Oh, Red Valkyrie's here. I haven't.
You'll catch up to her.
I'll get down there. Okay. Jim Cox. He is also hailing the wrenches. Or hell to the wrenches. I don't know, that seems more appropriate for this stream. Black Rose Comics is here. Great to see you here, buddy.
Hello.
Who else is here? Who else? Let's go. Mo Biggs is here. He says, hail the chat. He says he feels bad for having to ban Jim Cox. Well, it is a tough job being a wrench, having to make these decisions and then live with the consequences of what you've done. Todd's Truth is here. Says, how you going? How you going,
Hi,
buddy?
Todd.
Lama Giganti says, I like it when Michael is late so that he can feel justified in calling him gay. I mean, I still call him gay, but he's better when he's actually late. All right.
Lama Gigante, so much you don't know.
Too much you don't know. Nerd is the word is here. Says, g'day. How you going, Dean? Who else is here? VIP is in the house. Great to see you. Louis Filet. Hello, Louis. I don't know if we've met before. Great to have you here in the chat. Fantastic. Unhinged Entertainment. He says, hail Adam Lawson, panel and chat. Sexiest chat in CG, absolutely. Jose Garcia's here. God, this is fantastic. Here's Red Valkyrie. Shay. Hey, gang, I can't hang around. Dropped a like. Wanted to say, awesome panel. Be sure to check out the Kill Journal. It's going to be wicked. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about your involvement in it as well, Shay. So thank you so much for dropping in. Tatsunami's here as well. He says hello. William C. Oh my goodness, all these good people. Gusto. Fantastic. No One Nowhere. Awesome. They're all here. The gang is all here. Fantastic. and we're here to talk about this. What a book. This is just sort of, I mean, what an eye catcher. And that trailer that we just watched, 30 seconds is, I mean, I think that may set the standard. Talk about a pitch and the art and just everything, the animation. And where did all this come from, Adam?
Yeah, no, it's so cool. Thank you so much for that, Michael. It's if you can imagine, the Kill Journal started 10 years ago as a television show called The Survivors Club. And I had it in development at different film studios. And if everybody doesn't know, I write and direct television for a living. And they call that sometimes you might call it a showrunner, if that name means anything to you. And so this story had always had lived with me, and I had in some ways I thought, this could be a really cool comic book. And then because I work in television, I started to develop it as TV. And then as television goes and deals get set up and shut down, you get in development, and then studios change their minds. It never happened. But I met with this artist named Tauntaun Revolver, this amazing French artist who did all the art that you see in that trailer. And I said, I'm going to just do this on my own. I'm just going to develop this out. And I paid him to do all these character images, and I was developing the story. And I didn't even actually have a destination at that time, right? Like I didn't have, I was going to launch it on Indiegogo, right? I didn't even know I was going to do that at that moment. I thought maybe I didn't know what I was going to do. And so, but I was just creating this thing. And so, and then when the pandemic hit, I had the 8th and done a bunch of issues on it. And then I made this decision. I was like, I'm going to launch this publishing company I've been wanting to for the last decade. And here it all came, right? And so with that, I feel like, with promoting a book and getting people to connect with it, it's really tricky. There he is. There's Oliver. It's
Hey, Oliver.
He's doing my colors on the book. He's awesome. Yeah, it's tricky to catch people's attention and how to stand out, right? And so that's why I've always leaned on video. I felt like that was the strength of the 8th as well, and as this, and like, and that actress, the voice, she's one of the actresses for my TV show, and one of my visual effects artists from the TV show. I said, hey, listen, dude, can you just do this for me for pennies, because I'm just paying for it out of my own pocket for my book. And then I design all the frames and give them a pre-animatic for them to work with. And then we build the music and sound effects, and I feel like that's, and you don't have a lot of time, right, Michael? I'm sure as the Lucid you felt that too. Like
Absolutely.
you don't get people's attention for much time, and how can you really set the feeling of what your book's going to be? You know what I mean? And the images up, and so that's what I'm always pondering, and that's hence this trailer.
Yeah, I looking back, my trailer's too long. I like my trailer, but it's too long. Ideally between 30 seconds and a minute, but I would think 30 seconds it's pretty short to fit it in, but my goodness, did you fit it all in? Perfect length. I mean, now that you said you work for TV, you're in that sort of industry dealing with video and holding people's attention and getting it looking how it needs to look. It all makes sense. Let's roll it back a bit. Do we? What TV show do you work on? What's all that?
So I'm. I just finished up a series. I'm writing, directing, and showrunning 4 seasons called Escape the Night, and it's a fantasy horror show, and it's something that I conceived it with the star of my show from the beginning and got to see it all the way through. And even early on when the network said, Adam, this show is never going to work, and then it ended up being their longest running, most award-winning show for them, it was really exciting. And in fact, we did a board game, if you can imagine, based on the TV show, my star and I, and we just wrapped that campaign, and it raised about $600,000, and it was a really really exciting success. There it is. That's Escape the Night. So if you can see,
Fantastic.
like across the seasons, like season 2 is Victorian era, and there's vampires and a sorceress, and then you can see here on the left on this screen where it looks like Indiana Jones, more like season 4 was in the 40s and in this Museum of the Dead. And so it was a really fun time. It was a chance for me to create fully the studio just let me sort of make up my own fantasy world with my star and I, Joey Graceffa, and we just were able to just kind of play. And I make so many monsters. We'd always build a monster every episode, and it was a really creatively exciting time. So
Fantastic! Wow, that's very impressive. That's on YouTube.
Originals, that's right.
Yeah, so you have to be a premium member or something to be able to watch that.
Yeah, so it used to be that way. For the 4 years it was on, you had to pay the $12.99, and it was part of their, like, with Cobra Kai and us, two of the bigger shows there. And then they've canceled that now, so now it's just all free. They've let go of that being behind the paywall. Yeah,
okay.
so anyone can watch. Now that's all yours.
Well, I've only watched 2 series on YouTube, Cobra Kai, and probably one of my favorite TV series that I've ever watched. It's only had 2 seasons, a show called Impulse. Which
it was pretty good, right?
Yeah. I thought Sons of Anarchy did really well making a kind of a realistic show, like really highlighting the realism. But that was, bikers and, it was, it's kind of easy to be real. Impulse was a show that they really made it super realistic, but it's a fantasy. It's based on that movie, or that book series, and they made a movie, I think it's called Jumper, where you can kind of like teleport. Yeah, it's a great show. So you're in good company there. I'm going to have to check this out. Escape the Night.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a unique way of telling a story. The way I filmed the show was the stars of the show don't know what's going to happen, and they are in character, and then they just live the TV show real time. So it has a nice, a unique flavor to it. But anyways, I'll let you experience it. If you want to start anywhere, I say start with season 3 because that was my favorite. So I always leave it at that.
Okay. Someone's pointing out some squeaking going on in the background there. Do you have a dog there or something?
Yeah, that's what I was snapping for. Is my dog? He's this Labradoodle, and he gets his little squeak toys and goes.
That's all right. That's all right. Stuff happens there. Good to see you on camera down there, Poland.
Hey,
how's it going?
Fantastic. All right. So, you mentioned earlier the 8th. I hope people are a little bit familiar with that. I don't know if they are. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that project?
Yeah. So the 8th is it's a massive graphic novel. It's over 200 pages. It's 8 issues, and it's was my first foray into the journey. And I've been developing it. I'd written 5 issues before launching it, and had them all completed. And it's a tale about a math genius who uncovers a piece of ancient Sumerian armor. And he's a teenage math genius, and his brother's committed suicide, and he wants to make the world different. And he gets this piece of this armor that gives him tremendous power, and he runs it through mathematics. Or you could even play the trailer for this one. It's only a minute long, and it would do better justice.
Well, if I do that, I'm going to have to share it with the audio one. Damn you, StreamYards. All right, here we go.
According to my math teacher, I'm the smartest kid she's ever met. I solved the Millennium math problem. But nothing changed. My brother still hung himself. Mother's still depressed. The kids at school are still horrifying to each other. But what if there was a way I could fix all that? What if I could take this broken world and reassemble it? And even if the world didn't want to, I would make it change. Make it see things differently. The only problem is that sometimes the world pushes back and makes you do things. Terrible, terrible things.
So I see there you're, hang on, let me get rid of all this. Come on. There we go. There we go. So that book's got kind of a different look, but I can see there it's starting to get a little dark there at the end, what you were describing.
It takes a dark turn, and it becomes a kid essentially who's dealing with this suicide of his brother, and how he's trying to, make the world, try to control the world to solve the fact that he couldn't control his brother's death, which he soon learns you can't. That there's a price for trying to control the world, and he then sets about to find the other pieces of the armor, and the other pieces of himself. And then he has two friends with him, Emma and Atticus, who are on different sides. Atticus thinks this is a terrible thing to do, and is kind of pulling against it. He's sort of the moral conscience, and then Emma, who just wants revenge, who just wants to make people suffer for the things that have happened to her. And David is caught in the middle of that. And so it leads them across the world, uncovering all these cool monsters and ancient Sumerian armor and people who've been around for 4,000 years and Templars. And it really has so much of my heart in it, because I feel like it does what I love to do in storytelling, which is take something intimate, which is about a boy who's been bullied and his brother's committed suicide, something really intimate, and it connects it to something big and supernatural, which is this ancient Sumerian myth.
Oh man, we love that stuff here. I keep running into people who are looking back to that time period as specifically. I'm one of them. I've run into about 3 or 4 others who are looking at that time period as well. It's just full of so much mystery, and they did a good job. I saw a tweet just earlier where it was on a tablet, a little stone tablet that they used to write their cuneiform on. And it was a complaint for a wrong type of copper that someone had received. And they obviously sent a complaint in.
It's amazing.
And it's still there. And it's 3,700 years old. And I thought, we probably look at these people and chuckle and think, look how, kind of primitive they were, writing on stone like the Flintstones. But here we are reading about their complaints,
about copper.
all
That's
these
amazing.
years later. And, they're not going to be reading our Twitter complaints in 4,000 years, I can tell you that.
No,
That will not be around.
Yeah, that's the
We
only
do not
benefit.
value posterity.
The one benefit to everything disappears with the cloud is when this collapses, future generations will not suffer reading our Twitter.
That's true.
I also get some. I was gonna say I get some Witchblade vibes as well from the armor, coming up the arm and everything.
Yeah, no, Paul, and that's a good example. I think that the idea of this armor is that it's based on the scientific idea that you can take simply arranged particles, and with a hey buddy, and with a here, this is my dog Paddington. You can take
Paddington.
simply arranged particles, and with an electrical charge, you can make them complexly arranged, right? It'd be like taking a glass of water and then freezing it. Instead of it becoming a cylinder, it would become an ice swan. And so he runs this armor through math equations. So in the book, there's lots of equations, because he's actually running the thermodynamic equations to manipulate the armor. So it runs very differently. Like his true superpower is math, right? And then he uses it to command. But I agree, there's some aesthetic elements of it for sure, that I love so much about the Darkness or Witchblade, where there's something where your weapon is amorphic, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's a definite positive. I love that era, as these guys know.
That's interesting how you put all that together. Well, one, I like the character premise that he's what do you call it? Well, he's like any teenager, but you're not painting in broad strokes, even though you have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, driving him. He is like any teenager with the desire to be understood, and combined with the growing through that feeling of invincibility, but finding out who you really are. All that put together, I think, is a really nice combination. The math thing is interesting in the sense of, I don't know how much research you put into the math that you put in the book, but one of the great unsolved equations right now is it's a formula to help describe how heat travels over the surfaces of metals, and its application in the real world would be, for example, airplane wings, how to shape them better, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, in fact, I went into the, I don't know if you're familiar with the Millennium Problems, right? The kind of these 7 unsolved math problems that
Mhm.
you can win money for. And that was kind of the basis for like one of the equations that he solved early on in the story. But I love that equation that you mentioned there. I used all thermodynamic equations,
Mhm.
just because it has to do with I thought that heat transference was kind of the closest, as to what he was doing, because it's it's an exchange of energy.
Right.
But not that necessarily everybody is a great thermodynamic mathematician. It'll probably
Do you
just look
need
like
to be to read the book?
no, no.
Is that a
It just,
prerequisite?
no, no. They just have it in little bits, but like in his thought box,
Hey, Rob.
instead of it being him thinking, oh, I need the armor to do this, he thinks an equation, and then the armor does that.
That's a
Oh,
cool little interesting.
That's
difference.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember this campaign. We kind of came on and started campaigning at about the same time, and
That's
this
right.
one definitely caught my eye. And it looks like you've done fantastically well with it. I see even since closing out, you've picked up a whole bunch of new backers there. You're up to 615 now. So, and like you
Yeah.
said, this book was pretty much done, wasn't it, by the time you launched it?
Yeah, I mean, by the time I had 5 of the 8 issues done,
Yeah.
and then by the time the campaign is over, issue 6 was done, and then we just went colors on issue 7, and because of that, the fans have been getting the backers all get a digital issue every month, like they were
Yes, I
collecting it.
remember that. Yeah, that's an interesting way of doing it. Yes, yes. Very cool.
And,
Very
and what's fun
cool.
about that, Michael, is it's like I'm sure you felt too. It's like the Lucens ended, and I'm a fan, and I'm like, man, I would love to. If you sent me a 6-page Lucent right now, I'd read that in a second, right? And so I was thinking about that at the start of the campaign. It's like, man, when something ends, wouldn't it be nice to have a something that wasn't just like here's an art update, but
Yeah.
like here's the connection to the story. And so what's been fun is then hundreds of people have been reading the digital issues, and there's been
Hmm.
posting comments, and I put them on these Dropbox links, right? And then people have been commenting in the Dropbox comment
Oh, I didn't know
section.
you could do that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so people have been posting the things they like and etc. And it's been a nice way for people right away to connect with the story. And now I know understand that's not always possible because I had so much done
Yeah.
before, but that's not always possible. But anyways,
Yeah. Well, no, it's always cool to see, people thinking of new ways to make this work. There's obviously
right.
no one way to skin a cat. But talking about skinning cats, let's talk about the Kill Journal, because
Yes.
this is a vicious looking comic, and as we saw in the trailer at the start, what you set up here is, it seems like a kind of a maybe a post-apocalyptic setting or something like that. You've obviously got survivors and everything. It makes me think of that. And you said they can't even be killed. You can't even shoot them in the head. Like, talk about
Right.
total nightmares, which would explain why the people who are fighting back look the way they do. It would just be a constant struggle to stay alive if these
Right, and
things are out
that's
there.
right. That's the thought of it. Right, is that these are the survivors of this attack, and so once again, what's at the core of the story is these are trauma survivors. Right, if you relate them to any other person who's survived harrowing trauma, and like they can't put their lives back together afterwards. This character here, Sydney, her daughter was killed by a revenant, and in somewhat because of her own delinquence. Right, she left her daughter in the car, and she was mixed up with some guy at a cabin in the woods, and she wasn't being awful. She was just being slightly irresponsible, and it cost her daughter's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now so her life is just destroyed over this. And so the
Mhm.
way she copes is by joining the survivors club, if you will, that this mad preacher, St. George, is running, right? That he feels like he's been called by God to take out these revenants. So he has these support group meetings where people who've survived attacks kind of share their feelings, and then he kind of recruits the strong ones from it for his little army. And you're right, what's happening is they're going up against these revenants who you can't kill them with a gun, you can't run them over with a car, you can, but they just keep coming back. And so you have to, so that's, these hyper violent situations, they have to survive when they tangle with the revenant, and then they have to learn the revenant's origin, right? Because the idea is a revenant is a vengeful spirit back from the dead, right? That's like the meaning of it. And these revenants all have a story of how they came to be, right? Like this guy here on the right, and this character here, he was somebody's brother who was involved in a voodoo cult, and the brother betrayed him to the cult, and they killed him, and they transformed him into this monster. And so he's out for revenge to try and kill his brother, right? And in the meantime, sort of everybody in the way. So the survivors then have to learn this backstory about this revenant, and they have to discover their weaknesses based on what created them, what caused them, and then build some sort of special trap to get them or to keep them dead.
It reminds me, I mean, not really reminds me, but there's another story called The Passage. It's a novel where there's these kind of vampire type creatures, and they're the originals, and there's 7 of them, and they're just pretty much unkillable. They've got whole army. You got to get through whole armies to get to them in the first place, and they're, large swathes of the book are set up just figuring out ways how they're actually going to kill these things.
Oh yeah, they did a short TV series for like the first 2 chapters of that. It was like 10 episodes.
Yeah, it was a long and it was a good book, but the TV show, what I saw of it, did not look anything like what I had in my head when I read the book. So
it was just all introductory from what I was told. Like, oh yeah, that's like the first 2 chapters.
Oh man!
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really awesome.
It is an awesome book, especially the first one. Replicator asks, how many signups are you up to? And also he says, respond to my DM. That's directed at you, Adam. So thank you, Rob,
Replicator?
for the $2.
Rob?
Yeah, that's Rob Arnold. He says he sent you a DM.
Okay. Ooh, yeah.
And how many signups
You're in
you
trouble
have?
now.
Oh, yes, I see it now.
Busted.
Rob, how did I miss this dude? So sorry. I'm seeing his DM right here now. He's asking about, would this appeal? Would this he has an art image to video watchers. He's thinking about promoting it through ads. And I think the answer is, Rob, yes, that would. And I think with some small bits of After Effects, you could really make that image shine with those explosions you have coming down in that. Maybe I can even, Rob, if you want to drop the image to Michael, you can see it. It's if you took the explosions that are coming down and you animated those pieces, and maybe you could move down that image as that first claw comes into frame, you could really build, I think, maybe a 5 to 7 second piece of animation that from an ad standpoint could be really powerful, Rob.
There you go, Rob. That's what $2 gets you.
I don't know why I didn't get back to you on that, Rob. I apologize because I love your book and I think you're great. Sorry about that.
So to answer his question, do you want to say? I don't know. Do you want to give?
No. In fact, let me just check it right now. We had 487 yesterday.
Wow.
Or this morning.
How long has this been up?
It's been up about 30 days.
Okay, that's pretty good though.
See,
It's all mine. I don't even have the $2, and I'm not going to get it for a while. And then on top of that, YouTube's going to take 30% of it. So,
oh man, they're taking 30% of the $2. Man, they're greedy.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but once you go converting from American dollars to dollar dues, it's $2 again.
Well, I don't know if he sent $2 Australian. It says $2. I guess that probably does mean Australian.
Oh, never mind.
That's a dollar due.
Yeah, it's like pesos. Yeah.
It's been surging, apparently. It's been giving Michael
400 and something, did you say, Adam?
Yeah, so 497 is what it's at right now.
Whoa.
And it's been just under a month. And it's been really exciting to see the response. I'm so jazzed. And you know what? There was this, Michael. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this in your Twitter. I don't know if is that the best way to send you an
in the private chat in StreamYards.
A private chat.
If you got a link or something.
Yeah, let me just throw it. I'll get it. Link here. Just do this really quickly.
I have a question, but I don't want to distract him.
Oh no, go for it.
Okay, do you remember the Addams Family?
How could I forget?
Okay, so you recall Thing in the box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Of
So
course.
if your creatures aren't, have to be killed a certain way, and they aren't dead, you can't just shoot them or shoot them in the head or whatnot. If you chop them to bits, would you end up with like a whole bunch of little hands running around, like that are still alive?
No, so the way it works out is
But
essentially
don't spoil it.
Oh, I won't spoil it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No, is it spoil? Is it like thing where where the pieces of them come back? It's that what essentially you ultimately have is that they imagine they die and then they rebirth someplace else, right?
Okay.
So that it's not as if the actual physical tangible pieces. It's because there's an evil essence, right? This spirit that's got to be taken down, and that's what that's what they're ultimately trying to kill.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Because if it worked with just the body parts, that's a really creepy, crawly story you got there.
Oh, it's one of the most vicious looking stories. I was even worried about putting some of this stuff up as the thumbnail. I don't know what YouTube would think of it, because it's really hardcore stuff. It's really great looking. Look what I've shared here. Is this the mask that?
So I just sent you one that's the final version of it.
Oh, okay.
In the private chat, I don't know if you saw it there.
Yep. I've got a handle on.
So I got a mask one and this one from
There you
Preston.
go.
There it is.
So this is the final mask. So I gave one away on August 31st, and I did a random number generator and selected one of the people who had, as a pre-sign up, and they got this cool. I mean, this is a custom built mask made out of resin and fiberglass pieces. So it's this beautiful, awesome Halloween badassness, and it's and it's and so I gave it away to one of the people on the pre-launch, and I'm going to give another one away at the end of September, right when we go live on day one. For one of the day one backers, they're going to get this $200 mask for free. And it was really fun is that the random person it generated was a guy named Cody Baker, who had also backed the 8th, and so it was kind of nice to pay it back to somebody who'd been along. And then I also have some art images that are only going to be released to the pre-launch folks. They're the only ones that are going to get them. And these are some cool character pieces that I had done of each of our principal characters. And these art pieces in high-res version will be going out to the pre-launch people as well. There's a couple emails coming to them. So there's fun stuff for being on the pre-launch and coming along the ride, hopefully something that gives you a taste of it without like bombing your email box.
So this is Brecken, one of the
That's right.
good guys.
That's right. Yeah, that's one of the good guys. And he's somebody that St. George pulls out of a swamp. Somebody wrapped a weight around his neck and tossed him in the swamp, and he pulls him out of the swamp and rescues him. And he has the darkest past of the characters in the group, and ultimately comes around to haunt the entire group in the end.
I like how they don't have any time to wipe any of the blood off their weapons. It's no time to waste here. Just we got to
absolutely. Yes, they ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah, see, look at this, right? I don't know if I could put this on the thumbnail on YouTube. that's
that was the one I thought you were referring to.
Yeah, that's as vicious as the 4 days. What is it? 3 days, 4 nights thing that Preston Acevedo did, where the monster is ripping a mother apart in front of a baby.
Ooh.
And yeah. But this is pretty vicious.
We don't quite go that far. We don't go that far where there's a mother thing. But we don't go that far.
The child is just there crying. There's like, oh, you're killing my mother, and the monster's like, rawr. But I mean, this is up there.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say Dylan is a bad guy.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
He's definitely not a happy guy.
Running into him.
Yeah, and it's his mask essentially that you.
Yeah. You don't want to be running into him in a dark alley or a well lit alley, frankly, in any alley. And this is Finch.
Yes. So Finch grew up in a Mexican dogfighting pit. His dad ran the pits, and then one day a dog didn't show, and he threw Finch in, and he killed the pit bull with his teeth. And then his dad kept training him like he was one of the other dogs. And then until Mr. Crispy came in and burned down everyone at one of the dog fights, and that freed Finch. And Mr. Crispy, I posted him on my Twitter a little while back. He's kind of like the mummified guy with the flames. And Finch's dad had been a part of the group of people who tormented him. And where is your character, Rob? What would your character be?
Don't get him started. He'll take over. Hey, Jason Black has a question for you, Poland. He says, look into the camera and say, hey, Vsauce.
Yes.
Hey, Vsauce.
Yeah,
Michael here.
especially with the without the hat on.
Come on, let's do it.
I need to. Do I need to like? I think I need to like.
Oh
doesn't
my
he like
God.
pop into frame? Isn't that what he does?
He does. He's like,
Yeah, I think he does that. Let's see if I can do this. Hey, chat. Vsauce here.
That's good. That is very good.
fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So Finch did not have a happy childhood. Moving on.
No.
There's Marty.
This is Marty Tanaka, and she, her dad was a chemist, and he lost his job, and so he started building bombs in the basement. She became his lab assistant, and then he met a woman, and she kind of started to fade into the background, and she was angry, and at a carnival, a revenant killed her father, partly because of something she wished for, and so now she is a bomb maker and a chemist, and a teenage girl trying to grow up with no one to tell her how.
She's got some cool scars, though.
That
She
she
looks
does.
like she's
And
been in a scrap or two.
she's been in a few scraps. That is for sure. They've all been in a lot of scraps. And then this is Ricky. This is another one of the revenants who loved a girl whose dad didn't like him, and he wouldn't go away. And so his dad had a couple ruffians beat him up. It went too far, and he ended up dying. And they left him chained to a tree in the woods, and crows picked at his skin. And then a year later, he came back and took care
Light
of the
stuff, then.
ruffians.
This is like
Light
R-rated
stuff.
comic books.
Yeah, it's like it's like a slasher movie and a comic book.
I won't be leaving this one out for my daughter to read.
Yeah, it's not an all ages thing, though those are wonderful too. And then this is St. George. This is the preacher who leads the group, and his congregation. He lost his congregation, his son to a revenant, and he organizes the pack and kind of gives them the missions and gets the information, and he records everything in the kill journal. He has this book, like his Bible, if you will, where he records all their kills and the enemies, the revenants, and essentially when you get the book, because it's going to be a leather-bound edition. Thank you, William. Thank you. When you get the book, it's going to be it's a leather-bound book that kind of feels and looks like an old Catholic Bible, the kill journal. So it's like almost like you are getting his kill journal.
Unhinged says, "Oh, so this is similar to bric-a-brac." Got it. I presume you mean bric-a-brac. If you with that one, yeah, totally the
This
same thing.
this kind of reminds me of Eli from Book of Eli, the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in terms of the preacher type going around with his book
Yeah.
and seeking vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
saw
good.
someone
That's
had
a-
mentioned Tank Girl as a it's a bit of a similar sort of character to this one here.
I also read, got finished reading Doug Ernst's book recently. That also has kind of a warrior priest protagonist in it too, who deals with some stuff.
Yeah.
Big fan.
There's something, right? It's kind of nice, Poland. There's something cool about kind of a holy warrior, if you will.
Yep.
It gives him some dimension, and and it gives him, sort of a mystical element to him, where he can kind of call upon the supernatural, if you will.
Right, and there's always that line
And then
that's like, how far is too far? for your faith, you know, in terms of like going and seeking vengeance, and when does that, you know, start to potentially corrupt or taint your original purpose? So that's always an interesting angle to take with him as well.
And that's definitely where he's at, right? Is that the survivors, I love how you mentioned that, are walking a really fine line, right? Because Finch struggles with it the most, is that you're on the line of, you're a survivor today, but Finch, if you died, would you come back as a revenant, right? And in one of the storylines, he steals one of the revenant masks, and he like keeps it hidden in the woods, and he like visits it because it's like he realized he's on the verge of going too far.
That's awesome.
And there's Sid.
Yeah, so this is Sydney, named after a very famous city in your country, Michael.
Fantastic. I like it.
Yes,
I'll accept.
And you'll accept. And she's the one that I was talking about initially, where her daughter, her daughter was killed, and so and one thing about happened to her is that she died in the Revenant attack, and the doctors were able to bring her back. And so it just whispers a bit in the series where, because of the fact that she had died and doctors brought her back, that she did a little bit of an extra sense of the Revenants. And that kind of is a very slight thing that grows just a little bit. It doesn't overwhelm her character, but it's a slight edge that she has because she's been to the other side.
Fantastic. There it is. There, the cool logo there. Wow. Can we talk for a second about this art? You mentioned your artist earlier. What's his name there? Have you written it there? Who's your artist? Raymond.
So
Bermudez.
There's two artists. Yeah, you see Tauntaun's art here, and then Raymond Bermudez is my artist that's actually now doing the interiors. Unfortunately, Tauntaun left to go work for Riot, and that's pretty hard money to compete with. Yeah. So I can give you this really amazing. Let me give you this amazing page.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, just well done on getting this, marketing art, because this just what a great sell. I think everyone in the chat would agree. You can really get a sense of the characters and the insanity of this story, and like I said, all the little scars. And did Oliver color these things that we're looking at here? Or was that...
No, so he didn't color those. Tauntaun actually colored those as well. He's kind of a multi-hyphenate artist who can do it all. But I want to show you some of the magic of Raymond here. If you look in the private chat, there it is.
I've seen some of this.
So you can kind of see that I don't think that Raymond lets you down.
No, I've seen this. Not at all.
Yeah, but he doesn't let you down at all. He just has such dynamic composition, and if you look also to just the emotion on the faces, just look at Marty over here on the left, you can just see in her eye when you see Finch here, he's the one in the hoodie. You can just see him come alive. It's kind of like the dog fighter he is, and the way we just tuck this little guy running away in the corner, and so. Yeah, and then Oliver has just started color work now, and he's plowing away through. And I think I might have a page to show you on that, because
there's something happening to this guy here in the back.
Yeah, it didn't work out for him. It didn't work out for him.
Let's not mourn for him too much. Move on.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh damn.
So
she's copying it in the back too.
Yeah. And so this is, it's got, a graphic element to it, but then I think this might be another good image to kind of show, a little bit of there's also much of sort of this heart and drama in it here. Let me show you this one here. All right. Here, let me send you one more. I know they're coming in as TIFFs. I realize those are massive files to sort with, but
that's that one again. Hang on.
Remember, he pays for his internet with Australian currency, so it doesn't go very far.
Yeah. Should be the page 10 one. It's You see how it says
I've got it. I've
page
got it.
10?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
What is this thing here? Go away. Oh man.
Yeah. So
Who did
this
you say
starts to
this
be,
is? This artist is.
Raymond Bermudez.
Oh, this
is
is
doing
so
it.
good.
And so if you can see, this is, some of the like the aftermath of this attack, and Finch is there with this girl that's died. And you can see the drama. And so this is Sydney right here, the girl with she's got her wristbands because she tried to kill herself and then changed her mind and came into the Survivors Club. And ultimately then she cuts her hair near the end of this issue and becomes like the character you see in the concept image. Thank you, Metal. Thank you, Metal. But yeah, you can just see a lot of that there is. I wanted to make this a Spider movie with a conscience, right? A Spider movie with heart. So in spite of the graphic and craziness of it, there is these deep emotional stories. That Sydney's fear is that, she let her daughter down and she's just going to let this whole group down, right? She's just going to let, and so that she's afraid of taking on this responsibility. And so I think that they all have their own issue.
I think I'm a bit quietly blown away here by just the whole package that you're putting together for this. I don't think I've seen the chat go this nuts for something ever. So yeah, I think you've got a serious hit on your hands here.
Oh, Michael,
there's just everything about it just sounds really amazing, except I probably won't be buying it as a Christmas present for the children. That's the only downside. But it's perfectly fine. They can have bric-a-brac.
If the metrics are
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, well, Michael, I have another, as I said, I'm launching this whole publishing line. So in the future, I have one called Kids and Monsters. It will be your kids can take it. It'll be a little Coraline. It'll be a little spooky, but it can be.
They can handle that. They can handle that.
Yeah, it's a bit more in that realm.
The monsters don't have their guts trailing out from underneath them.
They don't. But I thought, if you're gonna do a horror comic book, right, Blue, that like you might as well go all the way.
Absolutely.
Right? You might as well have fun instead of kind of hide.
Yeah, that's what you can do in comic books. We don't have to worry about censors and independent comic books anyway. We don't have to worry about the film, whatever, blah blah blah, and if they're going to air it on this channel or whatever, you just sell it directly to the people who want it, and so you can get as deranged and bloody as you like. And clearly, that's the route that you're taking.
Yeah, I'm pushing for that. Yes. And tell me though, Michael, and Lawson, how does Lawson? I mean, I've seen all your images that you promoted.
Mm-hmm.
Is it more? Is it more mature? Is it more like a TV 14 kind of?
I think it could be. I think it could be pretty. Yeah. What do you call it? TV 14. I don't know if we have that rating here. But yeah, it's got a little bit of violence in it, but it's nothing like this. It's nothing like this. There'll be some deaths and obviously fighting and stuff like that, but and a little bit of romance, but there will be no disembowel. Oh, actually, I lie. There is some disemboweling. I've got it on the actual campaign page, but it's very small. It's very small. Actually, I've got that loaded up here. This is sort of the, where is it? There, that's kind of the extent that you'll be getting. This guy has been disemboweled here. But I think
not
we can handle that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say as well, I mentioned it yesterday that I had, because of when I launched this, Adam, like I said, we launched at the same time, the Australian dollar was in a massive trough. It had been pretty stable for ages, and then it just sunk down, and that's about when I launched. So I just kind of had to match it up with the US prices because the majority of backers are going to be US. And then since then, it's slowly crept up, and okay, $26, that's acceptable. And then just recently, it's just been going up, like a roller coaster, straight up. So I took down my perks and put up new ones, to bring it back down to $25 US, and I
Wow.
included on these perks all the little extras that you get as well, which is the 10-page preview comic and the 2 prints.
Nice.
And yeah, and since I did that, got another backer. Fantastic. So thank you. I know who you are because I saw you leave a comment, and you know that I know who you are. So thank you again for doing that.
Nice. No, that's totally cool. What a win for you. That helps you. I know the currency exchange is always tricky. You know what I mean? And that's great that you've done that. I mean, Lucid. See, think about what I appreciated so much about Lucid is you were tackling a story that had had a complex theme, and it spanned the eons, right? These different eras, and with a complex female lead. And I thought, wow, what a mature, like a complex approach to a comic. This isn't fighting zombies. This is an intelligent, complex storyteller. And at least initially, that's what I was quite excited about, because I saw your campaign long before I met you, and I was like, this is somebody who's made a mature choice. So it's cool.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, there's all kinds of different books that can come out.
Totally.
We can have crazy horrors, and we can have sort of more cerebral things. I'm seeing a whole bunch of people now, because I do this show. People approach me. It's fantastic. I don't have to do anything for my channel. I just have to turn up. People approach me, and the kind of the breadth of different projects that are popping up is just phenomenal, and it's so good to see. We don't have to stick to just popcorn superhero stuff. We should have popcorn superhero stuff. Absolutely, because there is a big market for that, and people still love reading that. But
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
People also want scares and laughs and silliness and fun and thinking and philosophy and history, all that good stuff. Rob, you've been on the show.
That.
What are you talking about, Rob?
I think Michael. I think he was actually one of the first guests, Michael.
Rob was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. He was as well.
I was here.
Remember, that's when YouTube was going crazy, and we got the video struck within 6 minutes or something, because we were talking comic books.
That was quite excellent.
I can't imagine that. It's like, this is like the most benign. Like, you're somebody who works with influencers all the time on television, right? And with influencers whose followers are 10 million plus only, right? Mm-hmm. And I think about the content going on those channels compared to what's happening on a stream, and it's inconceivable that the stream would get struck.
We're a bunch of deviants over here.
Yeah, there was a good month where everybody was getting struck every time they went live. It was just ridiculous, but there's obviously cleaned it all up. Now here's a good super chat from Jason from Unhinged Entertainment, $5. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
He says he's going to simp for Shay since she's my editor. That's hard to say. Simp for Shay since she's my editor. And remind everyone that she has a short story in Kill Journal XOXO. Thank you so much, Jason. Yes, let's talk about Shay and her involvement in this, because we're big fans of Shay here.
Yeah, I love Shay, right? She's the best. And what I wanted to do with the Kill Journal is there was these, I say, origin stories of our 4 hero characters, Sid, Finch, Brecken, and Marty. And they just didn't really fit in the graphic novel, because I sometimes dislike in comic book movies or comic books when it's like, here's the origin, and instead I want to be right into the action. And so as I was conceiving, I thought, wouldn't it be cool though if at the back of the book there was a dossier section with little short stories that expounded the origin or the night that one of our heroes was attacked and caused this trauma, right? That wouldn't fit into the main 88 pages of the story, but would be there. So I brought in 4 artists and 4 new artists and 4 new writers to handle each of those 4 6-page stories. And so Shay is doing one of those, and she delivered an awesome script for the character of Marty. And I was so impressed, because I was feeling about, her and I've been on her chat several times talking about writing. And her and I have talked so many times about writing. And I said, so Shay, why don't I hire you to write? And it worked out great. And she had a lot of great insight, and she came up with a killer script. And then Brian Kreischow did one, and then my friend Chris Wyatt, who writes, who's the showrunner for Venom, the animated series, wrote one, and then also Cody Fernandez of the Ironverse world
Yep.
wrote one.
Yep, I got his books.
And
that's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, I really was impressed with it. So it was a fun way for me not to be a ball hog in some ways, right? And a way for other people to contribute without somebody, you just having a messy book, right? Like what are all these things? But by having just these like little kind of anthology stories in the back,
That's
that like
pretty cool.
after you've read the story, right, Poland, and then it's like, oh, let me dig into like that character a little more, and then those 6 pages mean a lot more because you've taken a big ride with that character.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, actually, Richard Meyer did that at the back of the Jawbreakers as well, and
Okay.
I thought they were great. I actually thought they were the most enjoyable parts of the whole thing.
Yep.
I
agree.
The one especially drawn by Charlie Snogans was spectacular. But I'm totally down with that as an idea. Absolutely, and hearing the people that you've put together to do this, I mean, this project just keeps getting better and better.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's really it's been so fun to see. And one thing that like I do, I if you look in the private chat, I put you this thing called Preston Art. So this is a cool piece of art that Preston has done for me. That's going to be a print for week 1 backers, and this is a cool opportunity to work with a different artist, different styling, right, than the main story, but like captures the essence of it, and a fun way once again to bring on another creative who's going to bring their own voice to the world of the Kill Journal. I'm going to have this colored by Steve Cannon, and that will be a cool print for the week 1 backers.
It's so cool now that I recognize all these names that you're saying. And I mean, they're obviously all really good, but it's just funny, you get into these things, it takes a long time to get to know everyone. But yeah, all these names you're saying. So Steve Cannon is the colorist on the Jack Irons book as well.
Yep.
Yeah, just what a great team you're assembling here. I can't praise this. I can't praise this thing enough. That's why I was so happy to get you on here. I just every time everyone's sharing this thing around, there's so much buzz surrounding it, and I wanted people to get to know the man behind it as well a little bit, yourself, Adam. And I learned some things too. I didn't know you had a show. I'm going to go check that out.
Yeah. No, I'm so grateful for my time in TV, and I'm still in it. And I know, right, Skip? It's like I'm not a very good artist, and sometimes I get kind of jealous of Michael because he can write and draw. And so I'll sometimes try and
makes me slow.
Draw something. Yeah, yes. I'll try and kind of draw things to like help an artist on maybe a panel that's confusing to how they're going to lay out, or to help show layout. And I'm always just like, I'm just depressed when I look at it.
Well, I get the same thing. We've got a guest tomorrow. I'm very happy to announce this for a little bit of an earlier show. Actually, we've got 2 shows tomorrow because kind of double booked, but I don't care. So, I mean, fingers crossed. Hopefully it's happening. 9 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to have the man himself, Charlie Snogans, on the show with Clint Stoker.
Oh, cool.
We're going to be talking about Fatal. And Charlie Snogans... He's a guy who I've just said from the start, every new piece of art he puts up, I'm just like, why do I draw like this? Like, how does he draw like that? Why can't I draw like that? It's just so good. I can't even really fathom it. But it is what it is. And we all just have to try to do our best. Isn't that right, Skip? You just got to keep plugging along and getting better every time. Adam, it has been I
give up. Yeah. Well, there's one last thing to share, Michael, if you don't mind. One last thing before you go. If you look under the private chat, there's a thing called animation. So this is for anybody who knows about the 8th. I've got this underway. This is just a 15-second preview to what will become a much bigger full
You
minute
kidding me?
trailer.
All right. Here we go. I'm going to share this. Is there anything you don't have?
I try to come fully loaded, Michael, I try to come fully loaded.
All right. Usually, Adam, when we do these mailing list streams, we have to fill it with, just other junk to talk about because, there's a couple of things on the page and then, it'll be coming out such and such. And then that's it. You've really flipped the script on us here with all this stuff. So thank you for that. All right, here we go. 15 seconds. Let's see.
What if I could take this broken world and reassemble it? And even if the world didn't want to, I would make it change. Make it see things differently. The only problem is that sometimes the world pushes back and makes you do things. Terrible, terrible things.
Nice.
Are you kidding me?
That's
Are you kidding me,
amazing.
Adam?
Yeah, so we're going into
hell?
animation with the 8. I know, right? So it's exciting. And I've got a good team assembled, and my buddy who is the showrunner on Venom is going to come on board. And so I'm in the process. I should have a minute to show at a later point, but it's so fun to I did the 8th, and now it's like, how can I take it one step farther?
Well,
Yeah,
I
don't know. I want to get that series when it's all done for the 8th because that looks cool. It's a little the action in it is a little. It reminds me a little bit of anime, but it's got the American style animation in it. Yes, that you have my attention.
Well,
definitely have my
We
attention.
almost lost consciousness over that.
Adam, you're doing everything right. Not only are you doing everything right, you're doing it in a way that puts a lot of us to shame. So thank you.
Fashion.
It's spectacular fashion. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us.
Thank you, Michael. I totally appreciate it. Poland Blue, thank you for sharing the screen with me.
What an hour it's been. It's exactly a Blue, Poland. Cheers, guys, for coming on as well. And, of course, what a chat it's been. Even Rob Arnold, the man himself.
The man
of
himself.
Replicator fame. Have I said your name enough?
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that Rob showed up.
I think
There you go, Rob.
There you go, Rob.
Rob
He
owes Adam
himself
$2 because
said-
of the way he's
Yeah.
monopolized the stream.
He himself has said that he likes this chat, and why wouldn't you? The sexiest chat in Comicsgate. Always amazing to see all you guys come out every day. It's just, thank you so much. There you go, Lord Crackhead says, smang that melee button. Oh, there you go. Rob's gonna, we've been stroking your ego a bit. He's gonna bring you back down to earth there, Adam. He has everything except hair.
Oh.
It's all right. It's all right. It's a lot of,
He's talking about me or Adam. I mean, we're both in
Well,
that camp. So
That's what I was saying.
not
There's a
everybody
lot of
can be
people-
as handsome as Michael.
There's a
That's
lot of
true.
people
Everybody.
with that,
that's true. I
with
bring
the
down, I
chrome
definitely
dome,
bring
so.
it down while I'm on camera.
All right, guys, we do have to close it out. Thanks again, and sign up to this book because if you the mailing list to this book, because if you don't, I think you are going to regret it. We will see you tomorrow with Clint and hopefully Charlie. All right, bye.